We join NTV's Andrew Ochieng for an update on the ballot papers case at the Court of Appeal, which is to rule on an appeal filed by the IEBC against cancellation of the printing of presidential ballot papers of Dubai-based firm Al Ghurair. They, of course, ruled in favor of the IEBC, upholding that appeal. Andrew, what more can you tell us?
Well, thank you very much, Victoria. And as you just mentioned, a few minutes ago, we were interviewing NASA's lawyer, Paul Mwangi, outside here. And of course, their reaction to the ruling, their loss today at the Court of Appeal. And they're saying that while they agree with some parts of the ruling, they do not agree with the final judgment that has been given. And they're just going to consult with the NASA principals to decide on the way forward and whether they were going to appeal that ruling in the Supreme Court. Given that right now we barely have about 18 days to the elections, barely 2 weeks to the elections, and given that the time that will be needed to get a company to print the presidential elections ballot papers, as well as other election declaration forms. But just going back to that ruling, some of the main things that caught my ears when it was being read by the 5 judges, it was just the judges insisted that public interest was more important and triumphed over everything. And in this case, their public interest that they were looking at is the interest of the millions of Kenyans who would be denied an opportunity to vote if in any case the presidential elections ballot papers were not delivered in time for the 8th of August elections. They are insisting that the elections have to be held on the 8th of August, and moving them any further would create a constitutional crisis where there would be no political leaders, there would be no parliament, there would be no county governments, and there would be no executive generally in the country. So that was the main thing that they looked at, the public interest of all Kenyans, and they said that public participation in a direct tender such as the one that the IEBC entered into with Al Ghurair to print the ballot papers for all the 6 elections in the country is not required. Public participation is not required when you're doing a direct tender. So that is another thing that they said, that generally if IEBC were to do an open tender and in any other case, generally public participation would be required, in that the tender would be open for many other participants to come in. But here they were saying that public participation is not mandatory for IEBC. So basically a win for the IEBC here today, and going forward probably anytime from now we will be expecting them to announce that the company Al Ghurair will be starting to print the presidential ballot papers as well as the election declaration material, unless we get any information from NASA that they are going to appeal this decision. Victoria?